Latest earnings from Costco just released last night. The company said it's going to have to start putting item number restrictions on things like toilet paper and paper towels and cleaning products. Now, the chief financial officer of Costco wasn't specific whether that's U.S. only or for all of the North American operations of Costco. But the problem is not that people are going out and binge buying. No, it's the supply chain. They've got, theoretically, lots of supply, but just can't get it to the stores. And this is something, FISA, that so many companies and industries have been talking about of late. The transportation industry, shipping, global shipping issues are a major problem. Costco is dealing with it as well, so they're going to have to put in some in-store purchase limits. Now, having said that, Costco is coming off its best quarter ever, $61 billion in sales. Profit, $1.6 billion. This is a company that just saw its fastest growth rate since the 1990s. That tells you, and it's already a massive company, that tells you how much business Costco's been doing over the past year and a bit because of changing trends. I mean, look, it was allowed to stay open during the pandemic, and guess where shoppers went?
Costco, my guess is.
Yep.
All right.
Indeed.
Good to know. Okay, let's stay on the topic of supply chain issues. It seems Nike's having similar problems.
Same problem. And they're one of their major manufacturing centers for Nike products is in Vietnam. And all the plants there are shut down due to COVID protocol restrictions right now. Yeah, there are some countries that are still dealing with COVID in a big way and limiting production. So Nike, which is gearing up for the holidays, saying, we can't get as much of the items that people want to buy. So do not be surprised if you see the products, Nike products, in limited supply in stores. And they've had to reduce their earnings guidance because of it.
Wow. Okay. SNC Lavalin back in the news, and not for the right reason.
Well, look.
In charge of outfitting our Olympic athletes.
How about this? Lululemon is going to do all the at a big popular grocery store chain.
It's time for business news with Richard Southern. It's been a turbulent 18 months for the grocery industry, and there could be more choppy waters ahead, Richard.
Yeah, and with Thanksgiving looming, no less, one of the big food-related holidays of the year, Erica, we might see a strike at a big popular grocery store chain right as we approach Thanksgiving. This is Food Basics we're talking about here. Unionized employees at this chain, some of them threatening to strike. Unifor, Local 414, represents more than 1,400 workers at 20 Southern Ontario Food Basics stores. They set a strike deadline of September 29th. Negotiations with the company are set to resume 2 days earlier. So we'll see how that shakes out. We'll keep you posted. Meantime, some more grocery store woes, this time involving Sobeys. They're actually closing and rebranding some stores across the city. Shoppers on St. Clair West, some of them none too happy about this. A Sobeys store set to close at 840 DuPont. It was a 24-hour one, and a sign on the windows has got customers will have to go about 40 minutes away to get to the next Sobeys. Meantime, Sobeys' parent company, Empire, tells me they're closing down a Sobeys store near Yonge and St. Clair. They'll rebrand it as a Farm Boy, and we're seeing a lot of that. Sobeys, their parent company, Erica, owns Farm Boy, so they're shutting some of their Sobeys down, rebranding them as Farm Boy. So lots to keep an eye on when it comes to grocery shopping right now.
All right, and you can say farewell to the Canadian tuxedo. A new clothing company is
Actually start to see the benefit of this.
BP says it's struggling to transport oil from its refineries to its stations.
Of the HGV driver shortage. You're watching Good Morning Britain. More petrol stations closing, pumps running dry, and motorists queuing to fill up. It's the fallout of the HGV driver shortage that is plunging our supply chain into crisis.
BP says it's struggling to transport oil from its refineries to its stations, with retail giants Tesco and smaller independents being forced to shut some of their forecourts.
So we're joined now from Coventry by Paul Chima, whose own forecourt ran out of petrol yesterday, and consumer journalist Harry Wallop, who joins us now from Birmingham. Good to see both of you this morning. Paul, what happened? Was it literally as grim as it sounds, that the supplies just didn't show up? Did you get any kind of notice or preparation time?
Yeah, so morning. So look, our supply partner's pretty good. So Texaco have been really good with communicating and engaging with us and telling us what's going on. So, you know, there's no blame to Texaco here. I think the big problem is driver shortages and where are the drivers? And how's that helping me run my site here? We ran out of unleaded yesterday at 5:30. And already this morning we've seen panic buying, and to the right of me we've had to switch off the diesel lane already because you know, people have gone crazy when there's really no need to panic buy because there's plenty of fuel there. We just need drivers.
Right, so the problem is for you is that when you close those pumps, it sends an instant signal to your customers that there's a problem, and suddenly your business is instantly in trouble.
Yes, so look, we don't just lose money outside on selling the fuel outside. As soon as the yellow cover goes on the nozzles there, you know, the customer's driving straight past. We're also losing that income inside the store. We're a community forecourt.
Diesel grades. From food on the shelves to a cheap energy deal, and now fuel at the pumps. We're being told it might get harder to get all sorts of things at the moment. This is not a scene any supplier would want. Closure, when customers still want to come. There's now such a shortage of HGV drivers. BP's having to ration fuel to the forecourt. A crisis is biting, and it's one of logistics. In a statement, the company confirmed we're experiencing fuel supply issues at some of our retail sites in the UK, and unfortunately have therefore seen a handful of sites temporarily close due to a lack of both unleaded and diesel grades. Many pumps will be filled from terminals like this, but the fuel itself is not short, and closures will not be widespread, in the tens, not in the hundreds, the industry rushing to reassure.
There's no reason to panic buy. There's no stock outs in terms of widespread stock outs. If you don't get a fuel at a particular service station of your choice, you can always drive to another one and you'll get refueled.
Panic buying would be much more of a problem, but so far there's no sign of that being widespread.
I have to use my car to go to work. So if I don't have a car, I don't have a job.
Are you filling up because you're worried about a fuel shortage or just...
Yeah. Neighbours just told us now.
The petrol stations that are closed probably won't stay that way for very long. They're being prioritised for refuelling. This one, for example, told me they expect another delivery before the day is out. But it does bring this lorry driver shortage into critical focus. It's a shortage that's being caused partly by the pandemic and a huge backlog in tests, partly by Brexit with migrant workers going home, and partly because there aren't enough younger workers coming up who find the industry attractive. The industry needs another 150,000 drivers. And it's being felt by people like Steve. He runs an HGV firm, and this was him in July. He's now down over 20% on the staff he needs. If things were bad then, they're now atrocious.
The situation is grim. Very, very grim. And it's getting worse. They're going to get to a point when they're going to have to say, enough. We can't afford to move those goods.
And the impact's being felt across the economy. Everything from farms and food to furniture and fittings. Many warn of a breaking point and say action is needed now.
In the short term, we are asking government to temporarily allow trained, safe, professional European drivers into the UK to take up some of the vacant jobs. That will tide us over until we think spring next year.
The government says it's working hard to resolve this, but goods are not flowing as they should in this country. Fuel, just the latest example, but it certainly won't be the last. Helen Ann Smith, Sky News.
Now it's 5:23. Well, do you need some bottled water or maybe your kid's favorite lunch item? Well, you may not be able to find it at a nearby grocery store. John Matteries takes a look at some of the newest shortages so you don't waste your money.
Grocery shelves are looking a bit thin these days, but this time it's not like the great toilet paper shortage of 2020. This time it's more frustrating. Hit or miss shortage is nothing to cluck about.
Chicken wings and
We found pizza Lunchables in one store, turkey and cheese, but no pizza in another. And the chicken wing shortage is nothing to cluck about.
Chicken wings and chicken thighs.
Mahogany Wintersmith would love to find some scrubbing bubbles cleaner.
Just basic stuff you need for your home, they don't never have it.
It's frustrating because you never know from day to day which items you like that will be in short supply. For instance, today was my lucky day. I found the Ben's wild rice I've been searching for 2 weeks. The Wall Street Journal, in a new report saying why you can't find everything you want in grocery stores, blames shipping bottlenecks, staff shortages at processing plants, trucker shortages, and a Nabisco strike on top of everything else. Walmart says it's adding more trucks and hiring 20,000 workers. Kroger says it's building 20 automated warehouses and hiring more associates. But in the meantime, shoppers like Debbie Caldwell say it's
very frustrating. The shelves seem to be getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
And in a flashback, some stores are setting purchase limits again, so expect continued shortages so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries, Chris 6 News.
Giving all praises, honor, and glorification to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, HaKudash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to the elect. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, and verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, and verse 4. Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse 5. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and evil, and only evil, behold, is come, and end is come, the end is come, it watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. The morning is come unto thee, O thou that dwellest in the land. The time is come, the day of trouble is near, and not the sounding again of the mountains. Now will I surely pour out my fury upon thee, and accomplish mine anger upon thee, and I will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense thee for all thine abominations. Mine eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity. I will recompense thee according to thy ways, and thine abominations that are in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am the Lord that smiteth. The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, and verse 13. Verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fall through the blasting in hell, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Second Ezra 16 and 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Shalom. You know what? Through the Spirit, just the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, and verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man does travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Verse 24, the fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it. giving all praise, honor, and glorification to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kudash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect.